What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one and the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
I played a little bit of multiplayer Call of Duty last night. I have to say my first impressions were, this is going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
It's interesting because we got a story today that there's some issues going on where people can join us live. For the rest of the stories, it's twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services, TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, Xbox may not be ready to raise the prices this holiday season, but it does sound like it's coming in the near future. PlayStation's London studio teases their most ambitious game yet. Games of service, Scott, your favorite, and the launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 hit with server issues.
Oh, no.
That's right. Yeah, that was so when you said you got on, I was like, that must have been last night, because I think this morning isn't going so well.
Oh, that was a perfect time to try then.
Yeah, you got out early. So early impressions, you're enjoying it so far?
Yeah, no, I've been enjoying it so far, but I don't know any of the maps, of course. So it's just chaos at the moment. But the gameplay holds up a little bit more like Cold War than I expected.
Nice. Dude, let's get into it. As Xbox may have to raise prices, says Phil Spencer, but not before the holidays. This goes from Ryan over at Polygon. At the walls, actually, I've combined two stories here, Scott, just to kind of get you caught up, because we got in here a little earlier than usual. At the Wall Street Journal's Tech Live conference on a Wednesday, this is all cataloged by their sister site, The Verge. Head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, revealed that Microsoft may eventually raise the prices of its consoles and or services. Quote, "We've held our price on our console, we've held price on games and our subscriptions," said Spencer. "I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it was really important that we maintain the prices we have," end quote. This answers, I know, we'll get into this.
To the bottom line,
This answer comes after Sony raised prices for PS5 in some regions, although not in the US, due to the chip shortages and inflation, consoles, cars, and other machines and other expenses, and difficult for manufacturers to build in 2022. It's interesting that Spencer doesn't specify what may see a price hike if and when something like that comes down the pike. At the same conference, Spencer revealed that Game Pass is finally profitable, accounting for about 15% of Xbox's revenue. It's possible Xbox could raise the price of Game Pass slightly to offset the rising manufacturer cost of its consoles. Scott, I'm going to roll right into the next one as well. We'll get into this topic here. This is Xbox hints at possible Game Pass and console price increases. So this kind of ties in. This is Mark over at comicbook.com. Microsoft likes to call Xbox Game Pass, quote, the best deal in gaming, end quote, but it seems the deal could get a little less sweet in the future. Speaking with the Wall Street Journal Live, Xbox boss Phil Spencer discussed prices of Xbox consoles and Xbox Game Pass, stating that the company might have to raise prices on certain things in the future, which also kind of goes back into Xbox Game Pass. Scott, are you nervous? Does this concern you, or is this something you expected?
Well, it is to be expected at this point, because these chip shortages, the economic issues that we're running into are not just going to disappear. So a lot of companies are adapting to it, and even aside of that, I look at Netflix, and the prices for Netflix have gone up constantly throughout the years, and that makes sense in that capacity.
Yeah. I'm
wondering now, what would the price tag be for Game Pass per month that would make it too much? Because I'm afraid to say you could raise it quite a lot on myself, but I'm going to keep buying it.
That's just it. Dude, honestly, at this point, it rolls every month on my credit card, and I don't even keep track. I have no idea what it is right now. Is it $20, $15? What are we paying? I have no idea.
I'm not even certain myself.
Right? It's just one of those, to me, it's as awful as this, it's like an essential service. for my gaming ecosystem and what we do here, dude, it's just part of the job for us, right? So for me, I need to have that service ingrained into the rest of what we do here, but it does hold value. And if it didn't hold value, I'd take a different stance on this, right? I think that's the biggest thing for me. But day one, right, I convinced my brother to finally get an Xbox and get Game Pass, because on day one, you're going to get Fable. Whenever we see that, you're going to get Redfall, you're going to get Starfield, right? Like, you're going to get all these games on day one. That's the biggest selling feature, where we don't see this with PlayStation. PlayStation is taking a completely different stance and saying, we don't believe in this model. We don't think this is going to be good longevity wise to keep this model going. And we feel that up front, when you buy God of War Ragnarok, you're getting that value when you purchase that. And you're not going to get it in the PlayStation Plus subscription services, as they have 3 different tiers. I wonder if they did, dude, if they offered a tier above premium, would that be enough to pull people in to go to that service so that they can guarantee God of War Ragnarok on day one? Like, is that something that PlayStation could look at further down the line, or restructuring maybe these 3 tiers? Because introducing a 4th tier, I think, would just make it even worse.
Yeah, it's already such a strange, not direct system, at least from an outside observer like myself. I wonder what PlayStation is going to do to adapt, and they're seeing these numbers finally come out, and Xbox is stating this is sustainable, despite what people in forums will tell you. Game Pass has been a great idea for them.
It has worked, right?
I would like to see Sony do something to kind of compete on that level, and then I would like Nintendo to join us in the 2020s here.
yeah, Nintendo's at a weird stance right now. I've heard so many people struggles with the Switch and the lack of ability to carry the games that we hold now on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, right? It just doesn't compare. So Nintendo's got to be looking at this going, we are holding our developers back from producing a higher quality experience. Granted, like, do you honestly think we're going to get Breath of the Wild 2? Was Tears of, what was it called, Scott? Tears of something?
Tears of the King.
Thank you. Tears of the King.
I've seen it pronounced Tears of the King. I don't know if that's indicative of the story, but
fair enough. But do you really think we're going to experience that on last gen Switch, or are we going to get a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 or whatever they're looking at over there?
I'm really hoping for the second version of a Switch. Yeah, I want the upgrade for it because, like you say, it is going to be held back. And Absolutely. When did the Switch actually launch?
Okay. You know, I was thinking that in the back of my mind, and I'm going, is he going to go here? And sure enough, you did. Now I got to find out, right?
Well, I feel like even as a console, it's starting to get long in the cycle.
It came, oh, come on, October 8th. Oh, that's the OLED Switch. Hang on.
Is it going to say 2016, or is that too far back?
Oh, no, Scott. My computer got your bug. It locked up. I don't want the OLED. I just want the Switch. Come on, people, work with me here. 2017.
Okay, 2017.
So we're only at 5 years, but here's the thing for Nintendo. It was already outdated when it launched.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. They were already behind in a generation. So for them to launch a new console would really just be them catching up.
Yeah, that's how I feel at this point. But
yeah. So we'll see what happens. But it works. This is working for Microsoft. 15% of their revenue comes from Xbox Game Pass. We've talked about this Netflix-like service for years now with Xbox, and it's working. And PlayStation sitting on the other side going, it's not for us. I wonder if they're now taking a look at these stats and going, maybe it's time we switch up something. But we can't. When do they do that? Like, they can't do it anytime soon because they just restructured their whole PlayStation Plus model. So that's not going to work. Interesting times, man.
They don't want to change things before the holiday season as well, because you don't want to destabilize that ginormous time for gaming purchase.
I think it's a smart move, to be honest. But we have a new game coming from PlayStation Studio, teases ambitious new PS5 game. Comes from Mark over comicbook.com. Well, PlayStation's London studio has mostly stuck to VR games and SingStar titles over the last decade. Blood and Truth, this is what you're watching right now. This is one of their games, and it was an amazing experience on the PlayStation VR. It was one of the best, if not I gotta say, one of the best games in VR on PlayStation. It was fantastic.
I've not actually seen this game, I don't believe.
Dude, it's very cool. Very cool. In a new interview with GamesIndustry.biz, the studio revealed that it is working on an ambitious live service co-op game. The title will be set in a version of London with fantastical and magical elements. While the team is abandoning VR for this new game, co-studio head Stuart White says the sum of the technical elements of the game are the same that were used in its VR titles. Quote, our Soho engine, our in-house game engine, is at the heart of what we're doing here, White told GamesIndustry.biz. This is an engine that was built from the ground up for this generation of hardware and the needs of the games we are making. It's designed to take full advantage of the PS5, but it's fair to say that some of the tool sets that we're using dates back to the VR Worlds and Blood and Truth tech. Interesting, on PS4. So there is that, but they have iterated, I guess, on the engine to step it forward. Quote, we're going to take all of that innovation DNA and apply that into an online co-op combat game. In our concept, you're seeing a take on a modern fantasy London. Our overarching theme is about bringing fantastical and magical elements and intersecting that with familiar worlds. And you don't get much more familiar to us than London. Pretty cool, Scott. I'm up for this. Okay. Co-op.
Yeah, I like the sounds of this. Co-op is always fun nowadays to see, but I'm wondering if they decided to take out VR or not go heavily into VR because of PlayStation VR 2. Is this
good question?
Too soon for PSVR 2? Some companies aren't ready to jump over to the next system.
I think Sony's, well, okay, so we've heard the state by Jim Ryan said that they're working on 10 live service games, right? There's a reason why they bought Bungie, because Bungie is now working on their next live service game. They bought them for $3.6 billion, right? Destiny 2 is taken off. It is all over the place. It's still going strong. There's a passionate community behind that, and everybody's anticipating what are they going to build next? Well, it's another live service experience is what we're going to get. So PlayStation over the next 5 years is looking to launch 10 of these that allows them to keep things going and keep integrating and keep making money. Scott, is really what it comes down to, right? They want to have people in there on a daily basis who keeps returning. Games like Fortnite, where you keep bouncing in because there's a new store drop, and you take a look at that, and what are you going to buy? Here, they're going to do the same thing. And I think moving away from VR for now works with Sony's model, but at the same time, when you're launching PlayStation VR 2, how many games are we going to get at launch?
Yeah. Well, this does keep it accessible for most people, because not everybody has a PlayStation VR.
Absolutely. What's not accessible to Scott is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 hit with server problems on release. And somehow you played, though. So this comes from Cade over at comicbook.com. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has just released, and it's already experiencing server problems. Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises on the planet, and a new game launches, it's a pop culture event. However, this year isn't just any old Call of Duty. It's a return to the brand that is unanimous with the golden era of the franchise. That is fair to say. I would absolutely agree with that. With that said, there has been a lot of anticipation of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it's looking like it might be backfiring in Infinity Ward's face. That's too bad. Temporarily, though. As soon as the game went live worldwide, 12 a.m. Eastern on October 28th, the game was hit with server problems and various errors about players needing to purchase the game, amongst other things. On social media, reports began coming in that players were being disconnected while trying to load into the multiplayer, and others were being put into a dreaded queue. Oh, man. Unfortunate, Scott.
Actually,
not that surprising, though, is it? I'm not surprised, man.
My only disconnect was actually my entire internet service got cut out at about 1 o'clock last night. That was strange. That kicked me off Call of Duty. But
sure,
the servers that I experienced were totally clear. They weren't even laggy by my observations. So I'm surprised I got in that well. But is it that much of a surprise when you consider how many people are jumping on this server? And
absolutely not.
Even with a smaller kind of release, you get server issues day one. That's unfortunately just the reality of it.
Here's the thing for me. Call of Duty is the biggest franchise in the world, right? Easy to say that. I think that it warrants merit. It has everybody's attention always does on a launch for Call of Duty. Can't they, at this point, they being Activision, anticipate the servers getting bombarded all at once? Like, it's not like this is the first time they've launched a Call of Duty and they didn't expect it, right? Like, whoa, didn't see this coming. That's not true at all.
Well,
they highly anticipated this coming.
Shouldn't it be a rollover in different time zones as midnight happens? It's not midnight all over the planet at once, so
yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
kind of stagger the increase.
Do it in regions, that way. Perhaps. Yeah. I don't know.
Then again, I thought the servers, if we're in Eastern Canada, I thought we would have our own server bank, anyways.
However, there are issues, and I don't expect them to last very long. They've got to be working meticulously and frantically right now to get that taken care of, because the last thing they want to be doing is being down on launch day when a brand new game launches for Call of Duty, because everybody wants to be on it, right? That's the biggest thing. They want to jump in. Dude, I cannot wait to get in the multiplayer. I'm just working on wrapping up God of War, and then I'm getting into that and everything and the campaign, and I just want to check it out. Like, I'm looking forward to this. And they've got that, like, what's that new game mode they just brought over? Something like the
hostage extraction kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's some games, some game modes I'm like, I'm gonna have to test this out. I definitely want to test that out. There's a lot to Call of Duty this year that seems to make me want to try it more than previous years. So I'm pretty excited to check it out. A lot of people are pumped, but they had to anticipate this, and no surprise at all that another game launches and doesn't work. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I want to believe this is really just out of popularity. That's their issue.
I think so. I think they've just been bombarded with everybody jumping on the servers and crashing it all at once. But it's one of those things. Did you not anticipate all these people coming? Because the rest of the world did. So we'll see what happens. But they'll get it sorted out sooner than later. Scott, let's get into it. Something I've been playing too. Marvel Snap pulls in $2 million a week after launch.
Holy, yeah, I see this. I see it advertised everywhere.
It worked, man. It got me. I'm a big Marvel fan, and I was looking for, like, because what I do right now is I go to bed at night and I'll play a couple rounds, and this is what I do. Like, every night, this is what I do. Hop into bed, grab my iPad, play a couple rounds.
Have you heard of any of the issue with bots? People are getting really angry, thinking everybody's a bot online.
You have no idea if it's an actual person or if it's a bot. I just don't know, and I haven't. I think I've lost one round.
They can see that at some points it seems to cheat against them, and that's an indication of a bot.
No, for me, it's like, why would I had some puzzling things, because there'll be a spot that comes up. So you have 3 different rows, right? Almost like a MOBA kind of thing. And the way it pops is that each one of these sections has a perk or a buff or something that kind of will affect that area. And one of them was we'll double the card or something along that line. And the person put down a card that was only powered worth 1. I'm like, why would you do that? Where I came in with Hulk, who's power level 12, and just dominated that section. Like, for me, it's just a couple of different things, but it's been weird, Scott, to say the least.
With all the popularity, I don't know why they would rely on filling the servers with bots. It doesn't make much sense to me, but I'm on the outside. I have not tried the game.
Fair enough. Let's get into the article from Jeffrey Russo over at gamesindustry.biz. Second Dinner Studios. Marvel Snap has amassed more than $2 million in revenue a week since its release, as reported by mobilegamers.biz. From data sourced from App Magic, the Apple App Store made up $1.3 million of the game's revenue, while Android devices accounted for $737,000. In terms of the top 5 countries by consumer spending, the U.S. held the lion's share with 1.2. I'm not that surprised. Scott, are you?
No, not at all. That's definitely the Marvel hub.
I would think so. Yeah, absolutely. The Philippines was second with $186,000. Korea came in third with $142,000. So, and then from there, just kind of bounced around a little bit here or there. But yeah, not a big surprise out of there. Top player base was out of the U.S. with 1.3 million players. Man.
Yeah, certainly more than you do not need bots, in my opinion, at that point.
No.
I'm wondering if we're going to see some holes poked in those accusations.
I don't know. I bet you this is pretty warranted because every right now around
again,
the industry, I see everybody playing it. Like everybody on my Twitter feed has got Marvel Snap going.
I think part of the issue is just everybody online. It's hard to determine who's a bot in any setting.
Yeah, but that's why I said, like, that guy, the one person played a power level 1. I'm like, why would you? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe they're just learning. Like, it's hard to say,
maybe
right?
That was a bot to cushion you.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm like,
well. Yeah.
To me, then my mind goes, that's got to be a bot just being dumb, right? Like, that's just a dumb bot in that case, because it doesn't make any sense why you would do that. You would hold out till the last round because you get 6 rounds, so the rounds are quick. You jump in, you jump out, and you're just able to play one round after another relatively fast, and then you change out your decks. I got 2 decks on the go right now. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm always getting new cards, which then introduce new perks and things like that. So I can see it stacking up over time and going, man, I have too many cards. I don't know which one to kind of play with right now. Like, it's funny. Yeah. So I'm waiting for Spider-Man. I don't have Spider-Man yet. That one hurts.
It's always Spider-Man that'll pull you back into Marvel.
Absolutely. Scott, why do you take the next one? This is all you.
The Callisto Protocol. I am super excited, but they're less so excited about it in Japan. And it has been canceled as the devs refuse censorship requests. This comes from Kelsey Raynor of VG247. We're well aware that the Callisto Protocol is set to revel in death, with there being multiple violent ways of meeting your demise. The game, from Striking Distance Studios, looks to recapture the essence of Dead Space and truly terrify its players, that's for certain. And I can't wait. It appears that not everybody who may be anticipating the title will be able to jump in as of December 2nd, with the Callisto Protocol's release has been canceled in Japan. The decision was announced via the official Japanese Twitter account for Callisto Protocol. Unfortunately, PC Gamer have translated the tweet, which reads, quote, "It was decided that modifying the game to obtain a rating would not provide the experience players expected. The 0 rating could not be obtained." End quote. The 0 rating is the certification board in Japan, and for Callisto Protocol to receive a rating and be released in Japan, the developer would have to make some changes to the content of the game. So it seems that the short of this is that it's just a little bit too brutal
Sounds
for
like
Japanese rating boards. Again, has me excited. Unfortunate, though, that they're not able to bring this game to a large audience.
Yeah, they're gonna be missing out on it. That's really unfortunate, to be honest. Bit of a shock, Scott. Like, at this point, I don't know. It's a different culture over there than what we know over here, obviously in the Western side. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate for those who are looking forward to it, like you are. So I'm not surprised.
I'm wondering if it's going to be
some extent.
Can you region break, or are there going to be people that find loopholes around this? And I imagine that will be true.
Something's gonna happen, right? There's always a way of getting a copy of it somehow. It's just, would you lock out your region and then go US and then you're able to download it? Who knows?
Yeah,
but
VPNs are going to spike in Japan.
Absolutely. Scott, we have a couple big releases today, my friend. What are they?
That's right. We have the big Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And that's releasing on the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and PC. We have Bayonetta 3 on the Switch today. Another big hit. There's Last Days of Lazarus on Xbox X and S. Resident Evil Reverse is released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Resident Evil Village has made its way to the Switch and Mac systems. Don't see Mac often, but glad to get involved. And the Resident Evil Village Winters expansion is also live today.
There we go. Man, a lot of games today. Wow, what a day, Scott. But just like that, everybody, that's going to wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us at 11 a.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside thegame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until next week, everybody, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.